good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to see you all here in Paris, and congratulations to all of you who competed in the last couple of days and today. I'm Emmanuel Rosier. I'm French, working in Paris in a restaurant called Groupe. Here's my co-speaker, Margaux Mandic. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. And I'm from France too. And I'm really happy to be there to just speak about my wine trip about the summer. And I was graduated in May 2022. I'm just too fresh from Sommelier. And I just make a wine trip this summer for...
Before we start with the pictures and everything, I just want to tell you that the masterclass is about how two sommeliers opened their mind and decided to discover the world of wine. Okay, so you have the future and almost the past with me. I know a lot of you guys, and I think that many of you should sit here and talk about your experience. So I feel a bit weird to have to talk about my experience in front of all of you when every single one of you could actually tell your story. And Margaux did some amazing thing over the last summer, so she will introduce her trip and how she came to the world of wine.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And so, as I said, I was graduated in May 2022, and my first job was starting in September. And I have 2 months to holidays, and I just have the choice to just see the French vineyard or to go away. And I just said, vineyard in France, I can see it every time because I live in France, I work in France, and I can go everywhere at my weekend or holidays. And I just said, Europe, I cannot do. And I just take my car and my little blue car and do 4 countries. I do 4 countries, 3,858 kilometers with my little car. You can see just there. She's not a big car.
What kind of car is it? What kind of car is it?
Oh, French car, of course. Can go. And I just start my trip in Switzerland. I don't know where I go. I don't know where I taste. I don't know where I sleep. I just take my car and do 588 kilometers to the beautiful country of Switzerland and Fevrier. I just let you taste the beautiful steep vineyard you can see there. It is just an unbelievable place, and of course with an unbelievable woman, because I have tasting in Marie-Thérèse Chapin. It was just an amazing place. She
was there?
Yeah, of course. I meet her. It was just incredible. She was with no shoes on the floor, just like this, just to say everything about the wine.
It's like the woman version of Emmanuel Reynaud, eh?
We can say that. And she just have the particularity to do only the autochtone wine, and I understand the Petit Arvin. I don't know if you taste it ever. If you
this is a great wine.
Yeah, beautiful.
Never to forget.
Oh, and she do the Petit Arvin. I really enjoy these beautiful grape varieties because it is a sensitive grape varieties, and they need really beautiful many times because she is maturing late, and she has the beautiful flower flavors. That's a beautiful place, really beautiful. Just the perfect to start.
Indeed.
I continue and I do my most longer way for this wine trip, because I go in Hungary and I go in Tokaj. I do 1,444 kilometers, and I just make a stop because it was really too long, and I make a night in Budapest just for sleep.
So where did you sleep? In your car?
No, not this time. No. I just stop in the hotel and just take time because my car needs sleep too, of course. When I was in Tokaj, I start with Demeter Zoltán. It was a really beautiful estate, really famous for sparkling wine, and really beautiful. And don't be a mistake, Demeter Zoltán is his name and surname. It is not the organic certified.
Okay.
And the second time
I'm sure they will know that. Huh?
Of course, but I have to. And for the second one, I do a big estate. So I really want to see the famous one of Oremus, the Vega Sicilia wine. And I was really surprised about everything because when we see the cellar just there, it is we are with the girls who make the visits, and she said, "Don't lost us because if you are alone there, you will be lost forever because we have many many kilometers underground to
get lost.
The cellar. Yeah, it was just incredible place. We of course taste dry wine, sweet wine, and of course we taste the essential wine. That was just incredible place. We see the modern and the traditional. There you have the new cellar of Disnoco, and there we have French guys in Hungary who made essential wine too, and it's the traditional underground cellar.
What's the name of the French guy?
Samuel Tinon, I'm so sorry about it.
It's
Samuel
alright.
Tinon. This is the Essentia cellar. On the floor you can see the fermentation of the Essentia. On the Dame Jeanne, and on the wall it is all the bottle of Essentia. And the second one, it is the sweetest wine I taste in Tokai. 930 grams per liter.
Crikey.
I didn't know if it was maple syrup or honey or wine, because it's just 1%
Probably was.
of course. After that, I do next country. I go in Austria, of course, for all the wine was just beautiful. I do, of course, the Weingut Knoll, Brundel Meilleur, and Nikolayov. Nikolayov, it is the first guys who have the certificate organic wine in Austria. And of course, I do the beautiful cellar of Gobersberg. Just imagine as the homage about the Cistercian monastery. No any sound, anything, just chill, calm, relax. This was just beautiful. I do more in the south, and I just near to the lake de Neusiedl, where I just take time to swim, because I have to. And I do the Weingut Morik, where we just taste it in the garden, in his garden, because he don't want to give us in the cellar, because he think it was more chill and it was really warm, and it was better to be in his garden. And we do the Kracher wine, the most beautiful sweet wine in these parts.
Jamie.
And I finished my wine trip in Germany. This is my second most longer trip way, because I do 937 kilometers. And it was, for the first time, I just make a stop. I just stop in Nuremberg. It was beautiful. It was a music festival. I drink 2 beer, beautiful.
So nothing to do with wine there.
No, only beer.
Just beer.
Just beer. And I start in Friedrich Becker, because it is just the frontier with the France. You can see just there the Germany vineyard and the French vineyard, and my little car just there. And this is a really funny story, because you can see Monsieur Rosier can say in German language, of course. He said censorship because it is a wine made in France. The vineyard is in France, but they just I can say that they just.
So it's fair to say that the best Pinot Noir in Germany is made in France.
Yeah, this is what I would like to say.
That's what he says.
And if they can't take the name of the cadastre, they just need to put anything else, but not the name, and they just want to keep the name out on there and put censorship on just for the funny place. I do, of course, the Weingut Wittmann, Kesselgraf von Kesselstadt.
That's good.
Perfect.
Is that correct, German delegation?
Thank you so much. And of course, when I continued on the road, I just saw on my right the beautiful castle of Dr. Luzen. And I said, oh, I need to just stop to taste there, because I always heard about this castle, about this estate, and I have to taste there. And I do, of course, the beautiful castle of Gigi Prom.
Okay.
Yeah, where I find a French person who speaks French.
Is she French?
She's Not really French, but she speaks French.
I think you all know her. Eh? She's the one hiding over there.
And I finished my beautiful wine trip with a beautiful, it's just unbelievable place, sunny place, everything, Egon Muller, where I think I have the most beautiful wine I see, the sweet wine, and just there you can see I taste. They give me the chance to taste Heiswein 1998, and the winemaker take the time to just explain everything about the estates, everything about the wine, and it was just unbelievable moment.
That's a great story. Actually, this is the only reason why I came to do this masterclass, to just listen to her story. I mean, somebody who's 22 years old who's just decided herself to do this. What motivated you to take your car and do this?
Oh, when I was graduated, I have a moment with Xavier Tuzat, my head sommelier now, and he said to me, "You have 2 months. What would you like to do?" I said, "I don't really know. I just want to have some holidays. I don't know." And he said, "Go take your car, and why did you don't go to Europe?" He just asked me like this, and I said, "Okay, no problem. I take my car and I go everywhere. I don't really know. I go." And this is why I just...
And you're planning to do something this summer as well, or just staying in France?
Oh, no.
Not again?
Not again.
Not again? And what would you say to your colleagues at school when you graduated? What would you tell them now?
I think I really would like to say just take the time to go to, because at school, at my school in second time, we do the WSCT, Wine and Spirit Education Trust, and we learn on the book many things, but you have to see everything. You have to know, you have to touch, to taste, and this is just take your car, take the plane, take everything. We can do it, we have time, do it.
Cool. Well, so that's the traditional way normally we do for sommelier students in France and pretty much everywhere else in the world. But as for me, I am the one from the Cru. I'm from the Beaujolais. This is not a secret for the people who know me. I was about 3 or 4 years old when I started. Well, actually, I grew up in it. I fell in it like Obelix. And this guy here, I've got everything to thank him for. This is Monsieur Geoffrey from Château Thivin. And when I was big enough to reach the vines here, because you have to be small to do the harvest, I did my harvest there every single summer with him. And 20 years later, when this picture I took this picture with my father, I didn't remember him, but he knew that was, oh, you're the cheeky one that came to do the harvest. You know, you look the same, you got the same thing in your face, just a beard on top of it. And you probably all know this, the most famous place in the Beaujolais. There's more than a Nouveau in the Beaujolais, there's Côte du Puy as well. So this is in my blood, and I didn't go to school to learn how to be a sommelier. I decided to go on an adventure. That's actually me in Paris, but it's just that's a nice picture, I think. I decided to take my suitcase, go on holiday for 2 weeks to New Zealand. Here, saw the Christmas tree, and a bit of wine, of course. And I came back 9 years later. After the first night, I decided New Zealand is a place for me. And I got the chance to meet 2 amazing people who changed my life forever. The first one is the first, and so far the only master sommelier in New Zealand, Mr. Cameron Douglas. And the second one is sitting here. This is Celia Hay. She's sitting right in the middle here. Cameron told me, I'm talking about 2008, said, I know that the world of sommelier is just at the beginning in New Zealand. So you're a waiter, you're a restaurant manager, you work in food and beverage. You need not to have a porcelain allergy or cutlery allergy, but you also need to know about wine. And the other way around. If you want to know about wine, you need to be able to know about your food. And he said, well, you seem to have a bit of a talent understanding about food and wine pairing. So why don't you register yourself and do the Court of Master Sommelier certified level? So he gave me this book, and I went there, not even knowing how to do it properly, but I did it. And I thought, this is pretty cool. Knowing that I come from the Beaujolais, well, it's fitting. I want to work in the wine industry. Originally, I wanted to be a tour guide, but didn't work out. Couldn't speak English. So this is why I went to New Zealand as well. And in 2013, there was the championship of best sommelier in New Zealand, which I happened to win. I felt a bit of like a burglar, to be honest with you, because all those other sommeliers were there, but it gave me the taste of it. And in 2014, Celia Hay and Cameron Douglas decided to change the way they were making the competition and starting more into the ASI guidelines. I didn't win that one, but I had a great experience, and Celia Hay said, carry on, do it. So what I did, a lot of thinking. 2015, decided to leave New Zealand and went to Germany. Why Germany? I had no interest of coming back to France. I mean, for a French person, it's not too far, but not too close either. As you can see here, I'm still in the quartermaster sommelier, so that's last summer. I still have one part to pass in the master exams. And a lot of thinking. Do I want to be a sommelier? Do I want to do something else, like get a real job, like everyone else say? You know that. Yeah. But it's a real job. This is more than a job, actually. This is a passion. So went to see vineyards. This is in Schlossgut-Diel. Riesling happened to be my second most favorite grape. First one I'm not going to tell you. This is Gamay. Went to visit some vineyards, being a sommelier, in some restaurants, getting invitations to some trips, and where I happened to meet some and most of you on some trips. So here's on the Canary Islands in Lanzarote, here in the Douro. You've probably all been there. Some got the t-shirts as well, but I'm not teaching you anything. In Burgenland as well, me with less tattoos. And here, this is in Germany, beautiful Franken, some Pinot Noirs there. Schloss Johannisberg, this is all trips that you do when you're a sommelier, and this is why it's important that what Margaux is trying to say, that go out there, discover the world of wine. It's not waiting for you, especially for French people. A lot of French people, especially at school, learn all about French wine. And when you don't go outside of the borders, you can't see what's out there. Most of the French customers, which I discovered lately, believe that the best wine in the world is French, and the rest is all just another version of best wines, which is not true. So I worked in stars restaurants and now in a luxury brasserie, and this is still the case. So without this experience worldwide, we cannot show them how lucky we are in France to make some good wines, but how hard it is for French people in French restaurants to show what the world can do. So you are very lucky to have somebody like Xavier Tuisa as a head sommelier, who is as open as I am. I still didn't manage to put any foreign wines in my wine list, but I have foreign sommeliers. Maybe that's gonna help. I got a German, Cambodian, Italian sommelier. Maybe the next thing would be foreign wines on the wine list. Along the way, got to meet wonderful people, wonderful winemakers. You probably know them. Ted Lemon. There's a fan. Which one, Ted? He's an amazing guy, isn't he? Happened to work in some of the most beautiful estates in the world before coming back to California. And this guy here, Klaus Peter Keller, a legend. His wines are more famous than he is. I think he's still the most expensive dry Riesling in the world. Is that correct? No? Dry Riesling. There's a more expensive? That's debatable. And of course, well, it paid off. Advanced sommelier exams, here with the late Steve Spear. What a great honor it was to receive the examination or the graduation from him in 2020. A lot of ups and downs. I've competed for Germany with more or less success, and I've learned a lot from it. This is not how you win, this is what you learn from it. And a small competition, local competition in Austria, where I've got a lot of to thank for. Thank you guys for giving me a chance. And this is the Rienar Challenge. I think Ellen there from Sweden won it as well for Sweden. So this is a great chance that we have. As a young sommelier, you can do so much more. And it's not about what you do, it's about who you meet and how you meet them and when you meet them, creating connections. No, go back, there.
So okay, but how it's possible to just take a plane, go everywhere in the world, just where a country you don't speak, you don't know the work of sommelier, you just go somewhere. And
I guess it's in the
how
blood.
it's possible?
It's passion, and I am not like any other French kids. I moved when I was 3 years old to Africa and then came back and fell as a foreigner in France. And I always knew that it was something more than just discover something that connects people around the world. And for me, it was natural to just take my suitcase and leave. Then I went to New Zealand, where it really changed my life. Then back to Europe and Germany, where I've met all those connections that I have here now. And I'm very grateful for every single one of them. And since February last year, I moved to Paris, where actually, funny enough, I had to learn the language back and feel more foreign here in Paris than I've ever felt in New Zealand or Germany. But this is all those years of experience. So I'm not just an example. I'm very fortunate for what I've done, but I'm sure you all have an experience. I mean, Karin, German, French, Portuguese, for how many years you've been there. I can name all of you. Salvatore, who lives in London, or other guys like you guys. I mean, you've got your story. Jean-Vincent as well, French guy from South Africa, got lost there and very happy there. Sommelier, winemaker, book writer, bestseller, everything else. So this is just one story, and I'm very happy to share it, and hopefully that other young sommeliers will be inspired by your story as well. By the way, you have wines in front of you. Don't wait for us to try it. You just have to tell us what it is. It's not a competition, I'm sorry.
Oh, and you speak about the thing you have many person with many countries representing in your restaurant. And do you have anything advice or something to say to just all where you go? You have some advice about that, so
Just be yourself. This is one of the lessons I got from the last competitions I've done in Germany. Is stay yourself, remain yourself, and be true to yourself. And don't pretend anything. This is what you have to give to your customers. The wine is already done. It's already in a bottle. It can't change. So why should you pretend to be somebody else? Just be yourself and be open. That's pretty much it. Are you guys thirsty? Yeah? You're probably wondering why you have 2 people sitting here, 8 glasses there, and glasses in front of you. Well, with our travels, we're gonna move over there. With our travels, we got to know some wines, and same as for you guys, but it's not about doing a full tasting here. It's about understanding what you have in your glass and why you have it in your glass. So the first one we have, this one here, is it right? Yeah, Albarino. I'm not gonna do a full tasting with you guys, just enjoy it as we are gonna do it. We haven't tasted them first. Do you wanna say something about the wine, maybe?
Oh yes, because it is a because it is a place I really would like to do, and I take 1 month to do 4 countries, and I just have 1 month before to start my job, and I said, okay, I think it's done for me, but I really want to see the Rias Baxas way, I think.
When you try it, you know where you are. You know, you got saltiness, you got these nice fresh flavors. You know you're not in a warm country. This is Albarino, purest Albarino you can have. I'm very fortunate that Torres knows and understands the indigenous grapes and tries to show the best of each grape they grow. And this is what we have here. Not a lot of alcohol, very nice on mouth, and it just makes you want to drink more, doesn't it? No? Yes? I mean, all the details are here behind me, so I don't have to talk about it. But this is it's very clean, and something that actually makes you want to know more. And this is something that is a bit sad for the French people, because they don't know that such a wine exists. They probably have the Muscadet from the Muscadet region, from the Moulin-Bourgogne. But this is the closest we can get. What do you think?
Oh.
That makes you want to travel, doesn't it?
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
I have to.
Second. Ah, more there. Ah, that's a wine. We have some Chenin Blanc in France, but that is.
Did you ever been in South Africa?
Been to Africa, but not South Africa.
Oh.
I mean, I've got a reason now to go. I mean, Joe, who lives in Germany as well, from South Africa, and Jean Vincent, it would be an honor to go and visit the place. It's not too far. Is it? So how many hours by car? Do you think that she can do it by car? 11? Do you think she can do it with a blue Twingo? Yeah? Here, Chenin Blanc, the best as it is outside of France. In France, you would have something more fruity, more terroir driven. I mean, this bloody word that nobody understands, apart from us guys, eh? This is true, eh? But here you have just fruit, apple, and a bit of acidity.
I have to go there.
You have to go.
I have to go there.
Do you think you can do it
Just
with your car?
Oh, with the plane, everything, no problem. With the boat, nothing, no problem. But we have to see all the countries, just not to go just in Europe or something. I have to go there. It's beautiful.
This is not a speed tasting. You can actually taste the way you want it and how fast you want. I know that we have 1 hour and we've only been talking for 35 minutes, but we're open as well for questions if you have any for us. We were told that a lot of students were going to come. That was mainly for them, not for you guys, but I'm very happy that you're here. At least it's a good break for you from the competition. Should we talk about the third one maybe? Or are we going too fast? No? Let's do it. I think that's going to be your wine.
Yes, of course. Just imagine I just give you the video I take in the cellar. Just imagine to taste this beautiful wine in this place. You have just the chill place, the relaxed place, and they just take a glass of this Gobelsberg wine. The Ried, it is just for say the single vineyard, and the cocktail, it is really beautiful to see. Just many grain on, and I really enjoy it. If I have to compare or to explain to anybody what is the Grüner Veltliner, I think it was the perfect match between the Riesling and the Sauvignon. If I have to say this to anybody or to just explain this, because he had the two characteristic of these two grapes varieties.
This is good, eh? No? You don't agree? Yeah, you do. You still have some in your glass. It's your second glass. It's amazing to have wine like this who actually tastes and smells like horseradish and white pepper. I mean, we don't have that here.
And I think you have an energy on this wine you can just find in these estates. I really appreciate it. It is like the same as I tasted when I was in.
So you can see how good and bad we have it here in France with our grapes and what we can do and the limitation we have here. At the same time, the world is opening, so what we call the new world don't have the choice. They do what they have to do, but then still the old world for them. Whereas this way of the palaces and the star restaurants here in France, they're very closed-minded. They know there's an interest. The world is opening, and we don't have that here. I mean, Valentin is the same for you where you are from, in Slovenia. You don't have the choice. I mean, you would be very limited in the choice of wines you have if you stick to Slovenian grapes. But you showing the best wine to the best food, isn't that what it is, what we do? So if we don't travel and if we don't open ourselves, we will never be able to know that something like this exists. And the last wine, this is correct, something that we all know. nice and lovely Chardonnay. The same place where this amazing man from Ted Lemon comes from, not too far from where he's planting and mastering Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, amongst other things. But he has a very rounded, very delectable Chardonnay. It could be anything and everything at the same time, but still Chardonnay with the acidity and the fruit. From very good vineyards, from the 100% Russian River Valley. I mean, this is very uncommon to it's a good thing to show that's 100%, because in California you know that it can be everything at the same time. This is a good style of wine that we know. Does that remind you of something else from Burgundy, maybe on the style? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Of course, of course. And what did you really learn in all the countries for now, for your work? You use at work, where everywhere do you go, you learn some advice or something. And what did you do now in your work? It changed your mind in your work?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I guess all the, I call them the tourists, but they are coming to the restaurants, and I ask them first, what do they drink? Where do they come from? What do they drink at home? And I try to find the right pendant to what we have on our wine list. We don't have such a big wine list compared to other restaurants. We only have 1,500 positions. I know that some of you have over 2,000 to 5,000 positions. I mean, this is ridiculous, the amount of wines there are. But to know somebody comes from England who loves the champagne or sparkling wines, then bam, or Burgundy, they know that. But somebody from the USA, for example, they have their wines that they drink all the time. So knowing the regions and the style of wines, and having been there as well, helps me. Okay, so you like that, you may like that too. So this is also opening them to something new, and opening my team and myself to something new, and understand, okay, so what they like, and I'm gonna do some research. We have to be very quick. And also being able to give them another choice in the food and wine pairing, which is also very important, very key thing for our job. What do you think about those wines? Do you think that they have a place on the wine list? Do you have them already on the wine list?
We have on the... Can you repeat, please?
En français?
No. Can you repeat, please? No, French. No French there.
Do you think that those wines, any of those wines, have a place on the wine list?
Oh yes, of course. We have of course in the Hôtel de Crillon a big part of French wine, of course, because we are in France. But we have many other wine from everywhere in the world, and I have the same mind of you. I think we don't have too much wine from the world in the wine list in France. I think we have to open the mind and to just taste everywhere. I know it's complicated, but we have to. And just the wine like this have just an energy or something you need to taste, something different as we can drink everywhere.
There's another thing as well. We are in a wine growing country. I mean, I don't expect a country like Denmark or Sweden or Norway to have wines from there. They also have some wines, but they're very, very open. Or a place like London, it has access to everything in the world. When I was in New Zealand, I was mainly New Zealand and Australian wines, and a bit of French wines. German wines was, if you had one line on your wine list, that was a big thing. Austrian wines is doing a lot around the world with promotions to push the Austrian wines. I happen to also work on the side for a company called Star Wine List, and I check a lot of wine lists. And through the Star Wine List of the Year for the best wine lists, I see that there are countries like Australia have very little amount of Australian wines, but this is normal. Why should they? They grow their own Grüne Veltliner, they grow their own Riesling, they grow everything in Australia. What you're able to grow grows there too. Same in New Zealand, or in the US. I don't know if I can say that in the States or in America or. But I could also understand that back in Germany or in Austria, you have first your homegrown. So coming back to France, I can understand this thing that you have to showcase what you do best. But the world needs to stop being narrow-minded. That's pretty much what I have to say to that.
Yes, but sometimes it's really afraid to just go everywhere and just go in another new country or something. Did you afraid when you go for the first time in New Zealand?
I got shit scared. It's far.
Yeah,
I mean, you need 28 hours, the fastest to go there. But at the end of the day, it's you're there. Why should you move? I mean, you've got everything. I mean, I can ask Celia how she feels now here in Paris. Must be the same. There's a lot of things to see there and to experience. So I've made a huge mistake though. Being in New Zealand, spending 9 years there, I've been to Australia once. Only once. A month before I left. And that's the biggest regret. Yeah, do you have any questions for us? I mean, we still have 18 minutes to fill. No? How do you like the wines, by the way? There's no secrets for you. I mean, you all experience, you've trained hard and... Pardon? Which one is your favorite? Why? That goes very well with Mexican food, eh? No? That would go very well with Mexican food. Everything? Look at that! I agree, I like it. I'm a bit biased though.
Did you ever been in Mexico?
No, but I've been to Austria.
Oh.
Mexico is a dream of mine. Anyone else? What do you two think? The question was, can you explain me more about the Chardonnay? The Chardonnay here is, for me, I guess it's the same for you. This is a Chardonnay with a touch of sweetness in the middle. And when the touch of sweetness comes after with this popcorn or this corn flavor, it can only be California and the Russian River Valley. It's easy for me to say because now I've tasted it, but when you come to a competition, an exam, with the amount of stress you have, you forget about that. I mean, there's two things that they teach us, especially the WSET is one thing, so read the fucking question. They literally write it on the whiteboard. This is the first thing they write before they say what the subject is about. And in the Court of Master Sommelier, they say, let the wine talk to you. But of course, when you have the stress and the competition and the exam, you forget all about it and you try to say, okay, I have an idea, this is gonna be this. And you're so out of the mark. If we would know this every single time, all of us would be winners, we would all pass the exams, there would be no fun anymore. Would it? Have I lost you? But I'm not here to tell you exactly how you taste, but for you, this is this touch of sweetness in the Chardonnay that you have, and it's still a very young one. You will have a lot more warmth if you're in the Central Valley. You will have more spices if you're in Napa. You will have more acidity if you're further south in Los Carneros. Santa Cruz, you have everything, and Santa Barbara, this is Burgundy without the soil. Am I right? You can tell me if I'm wrong, too. Would you agree?
Of course.
think you already know the answer. I'm already. n- No, no, no. No, no. I do love my Beaujolais, and I see as well on the wine list and what we have and what's available that actually Beaujolais can be very expensive now, because it's not a matter of 1, 2, or 3 years. You can see Beaujolais at 10, 15, 20 years old on wine list. And I'm very glad that we had a really rough time behind us. I mean, that was called by one of us, Van der Merde, so sheet wine in 2002. And I'm very glad that it happened, because the new generations is actually showing what they can do. And the Beaujolais Nouveau is to be drunk again, because the new generation understand that if this is bad, no one would make an effort to buy the real wine. So this is good. But then with the global warming, this is hard to get the hands on the Chablis you want, or the Sancerre you want, or the Jura you wanted. So this is gone. So I think further south you go, like in the Provence, in the Languedoc, there's an amazing amount of wines you can find, good and bad, but a lot more good than bad. Bordeaux really needs to do something about what they have to do. Now they got new grapes authorized. Even the Chardonnay in Champagne, they're struggling with the production because we all want Chardonnay. So go for the Crémant. Go for the Crémant. We've got 10 minutes, guys. We go for the Crémant. So you've got a lot of things, but so just go and adapt. And I think the new trend would be for the Crémant, the sparkling. There's never been so many bubbles sold as now. The natural wines wave is gone. This is now part of the normality. Even the conventional wines are adapting themselves as well to something newer. They understand that. I believe the wine industry is the only agricultural branch that actually do so much for the global warming or against the global warming. I've never heard about a cow farmer doing so much for this, or a wheat farmer doing the same. But why should we do this? We understand that this is the future, this is something to stay. So for me, this is a new trend, understanding where we are now and where we're going. We all know the Crémant de Loire, the Crémant de Bourgogne, but we don't see Crémant de Limoux, we don't see Crémant de Die, Crémant de Savoie, Crémant de Jura, not a lot. So I think there's a big thing in there to tap in this market. And I'm pretty sure that there's other regions who can do Crémant, and we're gonna see things coming. For example, in Corsica, they do some Crémant, sparkling wine. Sorry, where's the president? I didn't say that loud. The Corsica can do amazing sparkling wine, so why not? I mean, look at around the world. The best sparkling wines: South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, the US, Brazil. It's possible everywhere. So I think sparkling is good because they understand that not leaving the grapes too long on the vines can help as well for good wine. What would you say? What the biggest trend is? Sake? Do you have a question for her?
No.
Okay.
Please speak.
Hi. Sorry. Thank you for the question. This is a great question because I've been asking myself this for a long time because we're not raised to love America, right? I mean, we have a history with you, against you. But at the same time, I see that having been there and invited by the Institute of California, Wines of California, for a week, I've seen so many different things, and I understood, geez, they can make some good wines, and I understand what they're doing. And if you want bad wines, then you pay for the bad wines. The same for food. You know, if you want low quality food, you pay for this, for what you have. If you want a high quality wines, I mean, some of the bottles in California is ridiculously expensive. I mean, we do the same in France. But if you want quality, then pay for the price. And there's no secret. Good wines here in France, in Germany, and in US, should be a no-brainer. And for me, it's easy. This is just another option, another availability, something else on the wine list. You know Burgundy? Try this. Central Otago Pinot Noir, Tasmanian Pinot Noir, or Sonoma Pinot Noir, Santa Barbara Pinot Noir. This is easy. If you want something else, if you're tired of your Bordeaux, how many different regions you can name that has decent Cabernet Sauvignons or Cabernet Franc or Merlot? So we are the ambassadors of all those wines. We are the ambassadors of our wine list, and we are the ambassadors of not only just the people who are paying us, but for the winemakers behind who are actually putting the soul and the blood and the sweat in this. And it shouldn't be a problem. And this is how I approach it. I've got 18 years more experience than Margaux, so I understand that because I've traveled and I've seen many things. And I'd urge the new generations to do the same as she did with Central Europe and this summer Southern Europe, and open yourself to other culture and other wines to understand and being able to sell it, because marketing and sales is also a big thing in our thing. I'm sure there was one of the parts of your competitions, what's maybe coming or just came. But you need to be able to do that. And the French hate the Americans, but they don't know why. So the best thing to go with this is to hide the bottle and put it in a glass, put it in the throat. You laugh, but this is true. When I was in New Zealand, I loved already German Rieslings, but I never told them what it was, and I put them in a glass. I said, wow, this is amazing. Who produces it? Well, actually, the 15 Rieslings you tried is the same one producer. In New Zealand, you had to have 14 or 15 different producers to have the match. They couldn't believe it. And I don't think it's about origin, it's also about the grape. You know how hard it is to sell a Riesling? Here in France as well, or in Germany, or in Austria? Oh yeah, that's too sweet. Oh, it's too dry. Be open. Chardonnay, ABC. Best grape in the world. After Gamay. Did I answer your question? Yes. That guy I showed, Chateau Thivin, is the number one. No, I'm not sponsored by them, but this is where I learned everything. Them, Chamonix. So they have on the market at the moment some 1997 Margaux. This is unbelievably fresh. And a newcomer called David Large. I went to school with him, but he has a vision of the Beaujolais world that is amazing. And when you have a glass of wine from his range, you don't believe this is Gamay. I mean, Gamay is, for me, the savior of Burgundy. In 10 years or 15 years, they will have to do something else for Pinot Noirs there. They will actually understand that Gamay should have never been kicked out. But we are proud, so we're not going to be part of Burgundy. We're going to try to do like Quebec with Canada. We're going to try to get out of it. No, we're going to... The thing is, we have to be part of Burgundy because they need us, but we don't need them. That's my serious belief. Do you have any questions for Margaux? I'm actually here for her story.
I'm going for your story. Exactly. Yeah. That's a question because it's always complicated when you're a woman in this industry. Oh yeah, you have to. But now it is all the people open mind, but of course some old winemaker are really.
Do you mean the old white man syndrome? She's right.
And sometimes it's complicated, but I think the mind is really changing. And as you can see, for this time, for the Meilleur Sommelier du Monde, many women are represented. And I think that's really, really powerful. But the mind change. Some people don't change. Never mind. We are going to do the same as all the people, and we are women. We are.
Yes, and if I may add something to this, I think this all white men generations will die, but the woman power will stay. And the world belongs to you guys, and I'm very happy with that. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Oh, I think yeah, I think the first thing you have to just go around us. I don't would like to do France because I live in France and I can go in France when I would like, but I can go in another country just at the frontier with the France. This is why I would like to do the Europe, and I think in Mexico it is the same. You can go.
They can't go anywhere. They have a wall.
I think when you want to taste something or if you want to just please.
But I agree with her. I mean, it's gonna be the last question because we've been told that we have to stop talking. But at the same time, I understand what she says to be open. But in Latin America, I'm pretty sure that when you go to Latin America, which is South America, for the French people in mind, you can go through countries between Chile, Argentina, Brazil easily. But for you in Mexico, this is a bit harder. I can understand that. But you have so much history and so much culture there too. I mean, we Europeans would love to go to Mexico and learn about sotol and mezcal and tequila. But there's more than that. There's Baja California. There's other things that you do great. Some Corona maybe. But the sommeliers should not only go to one of the best wine bars in Mexico to learn all about the world wines, but to take the car if they can, if they have one, if they can afford it, and drive along and meet the producer, meet the people there, what they do. Maybe do 1 or 2 weeks with a tequila producer or mezcal producer and understand what it is and get inspired by them. Because if we get inspired by them, it's so much easier to inspire our customers and our staff and our boss. So, sorry, we've been told we have to stop. I'm sorry if I talk too much, but I would like to thank Margaux for being here and telling us about her story because I find it very, very inspiring for myself too. And we will see you at the Bar de Sommelier, and you're gonna stay. Cool. So drink all your glasses empty, and then see you in half an hour.
Thank you.
Hello. I've got one more thing for all of you guys. If you can come back in the same seat that you had before and come back in about 10-15 minutes. Is that right? And in a half an hour. Well, 25 minutes
Fine,
because we
thank
talk
you.
too long.
Hotel de
Thank you.
Do you know in the place of the Concorde?